we never need to get so absorbed by those thoughts. And we often get tricked. We often believe this is very important, what I'm thinking about. And usually it's not that important, because we are just ants on an anthill building our cities. The quickest way to deal with a painful past, when a traumatic memory comes up in our mind that starts that runaway thought train, is to recognize that deep part of ourselves that believes it was too terrible to let go of. When I hear people tell me tragic history that they've gone through, you can hear in their voice that this story was so bad that it's impossible to let go. That it is a part of me. That it is something I identify with. And there is this belief that we can't let go, we shouldn't let go, and that we don't really want to let go. If we wanted to let go, with every cell of our body, with every fiber of our being, we would. But there is a part of us that is holding on, grasping, clutching with full force, to the point where our conscious mind, no matter how hard it tries, just can't let go. And so we really have to explore why we believe that this trauma is too important to let go. And because of the trauma, because of how horrible it was, we feel like we would be unable to exist without that defining moment. We feel like letting go such a huge part of ourselves would make us not who we are anymore. When it's the loss of a loved one, we feel at the deepest level that we would be dishonoring that person if we let them go, if we gave up that mental story from the past. And when it is trauma done to us from someone else, we feel like we're different than everyone else because of that experience, that it forever changed us, and that we can never be happy. And that is what terrifies so many of us, because we feel we don't deserve happiness. We feel we don't deserve to diminish the pain someone else caused us by letting it go. And we have to realize that that story is making us suffer and preventing our happiness. We have to realize we don't need it. It doesn't serve us. And it does nothing to the other person if we let it go. It is just about getting rid of the block that is in our lives from living our fullest. And the second thing we have to do is to see in our body where that tension lives and unclench it, to recognize that we are on edge. We are on a constant state of high alert. And that is always in the body. That is a physical response. Stress isn't mental or physical. It's both. When we are in the wild and we hear a bear, our body tenses up. We get ready to jump up and sprint and climb and whatever it takes to survive. And that subtle tension is why we get triggered, why a memory can re-traumatize, re-trigger us. And we just have to practice staying present with ourselves. Anytime we feel tension arise, anytime we start to get swept away with a traumatic memory, especially while we're meditating, but in life as well, our first response might be we tense up. And it's so important that we make a habit of recognizing it's just a story and we relax every muscle. There is no trauma that we cannot heal from. And it just takes giving ourselves the love and awareness to bring peace and acceptance to our bodies, our past, and our trauma. Because no matter how painful it is, we can settle into it and relax into it and make peace with it. And it's just the practice of awareness, because as soon as that trauma gets triggered, our awareness and focus shrinks to practically being aware of nothing else but our thoughts. And we become completely taken over by those thoughts, by the conditioned ego from the past that we cannot let go of. And this is why we do things in these states that we have no awareness of, that we would never do when we're calm and collected with our highest wisdom. And so the more we practice as heavy thoughts and emotions take over, the more we just become aware of those thoughts, the more we let go of the power of those thoughts, the more we feel we don't need to follow that train of thought, then we are able to stay present and centered. And we need to remember that we are no longer on high alert, that we can relax our full body. And when we can have that intelligence come into a moment when we are being swept away, we prevent that negative stream of thought, that downward spiral with an inescapable gravity like a black hole. And we are able to come back and just remember those are thoughts and not a big deal. And truly, thoughts aren't a big deal. These are thinking machines in our brains, and they will think anything that will pop into its head, just the randomest, craziest stuff. And we never need to get so absorbed by those thoughts. And we often get tricked. We often believe this is very important what I'm thinking about. And usually it's not that important, because we are just ants on an anthill building our cities. And rarely do we humans consider the thoughts and feelings and emotions of each individual ant. And so we can slowly shift to recognize that those thoughts, our cravings, our desires, our pleasures, and our pains aren't such a big deal. And when we have that humbling insight, we're much easier able to let go of any thoughts that come into our field of awareness, and especially those traumatic memories.